have Whitney here, who is the Deputy Director in-house counsel for Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, LCDC. And I wanted to first get started by, can you tell us a little bit about your commitment to community development, like where that began?
So I think I've always had this commitment to my community, right? And
Okay.
it's a very localized sentiment that I think I first began experiencing in like middle school, really, and just the need to be of service in my neighborhood and help heal a lot of the ills that I was, witnessing from a very early age. I am born and raised in North Lawndale on the west side of Chicago. And, the neighborhood has been through a lot of trauma, and that includes, you know, white flight to begin with, and redlining and contract sales. And we actually are home to the block that in the house that Dr. King and his wife stayed in when they lived in
Oh,
Chicago.
wow.
Yeah. And so, that tells you something about um, the history of the neighborhood and the city at large, but that King would identify this community as one where he needed to have a physical presence. It says a lot about the struggles we were facing. And so I think being connected to that history from an early age and feeling a sense of responsibility to the people that were raising me, to the people that were loving me, watching over me. And I mean that in the macro sense, the whole community. Um, I wanted to be able to acquire the skill sets to rectify some of that harm. So, I didn't know what that meant in middle school or would look like, but I just followed my instincts on and let that lead me down the path of education and
Law school, becoming an attorney.
yeah, that's really it. It was this or vet or become a vet. I loved animals, and this is to be a little bit more useful. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So you've been from a young age, it seems like you've been an advocate, and that's helped you just kind of along your career path and the different decisions that you've made with education. And then now at LCDC,
yes.
um, can you talk about how you began your work at LCDC and a little bit maybe your day to day, what that looks like?
Sure. So I went to American University, Washington College of Law in DC, and I was there for like 4.5 years. I got my master's in public policy and my JD, and I actually focused on international trade law
Oh,
because despite what I wanted to do, I found that much more interesting. So I was working for USTR for a bit before I came home, but it was my clinical experience that really gave me the confidence to say, okay, now I'm ready. Because in that clinical experience, I was able to work with faith-based co-ops. I was able to represent community organizations. I was able to represent local nonprofits. And so from there, I said, okay, if I can do this here, I can do this in North Lawndale. And I came back with the intention of starting a worker owned cooperative system. And I did a little tour of the neighborhood because there's a difference between living somewhere and like working somewhere, right? Uh,
right.
and so I did a little tour where I stopped by many of the nonprofits that exist here just to see what work they were doing and where they were in that work. I didn't want to step on any toes. But at the same time, I was also studying for the bar. So I was studying in this space called Green Tomato Cafe. And my high school, the dean of my high school was there one day and like saw me, we spoke and chatted for a while. And then Richard Townsend came in and they began chatting, and I wasn't privy to this, but the dean was like, oh, this is, that over there is Whittney. You should know her. You should meet her. And so he came over bothering me while I was trying to study and introduced himself and told me about the organization. I was familiar with the Lawndale Christian Church because I've been a member, but I have never gotten overly familiar with the Development Corp Center. So there are 3 ministries of the church. It's the Health Center, the Development Corporation, and the Legal Center. And of course, being, in law school, I had known about the Legal Center. I'd done an internship there. And then I actually worked as a paralegal for the Legal Assistance Foundation here in Chicago, but I was stationed in the legal centers, in the health center. So I knew about them. So the Development Corporation was the last one. He saw me, he introduced himself. We started talking. He asked me what I wanted to do. And I told him about the co-ops. And from there, he was like, okay, well, we had that conversation a couple more times. And he was like, I want you to work for me. And I was like, well, because it's housing. Wasn't anywhere on my radar. And I was like, I don't know a ton about housing. He's like, that's fine. And I was like, I guess if and only if I can do the co-op.
Right.
So here I am.
So you kind of started that initiative with the co-op, is what it seems like. Okay. So where did you, I guess, first learn about worker co-ops or co-ops in general?
Yeah.
I think that's a good question too.
So, for a new, academically and technically what a co-op was and had exposure. But my first lived experience was when I was traveling abroad, and I was in Central America, and I went to El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Guatemala on a sustainable development program. And I encountered this cooperative living community on the top of a mountain. They were growing coffee beans, and they did everything in the process from growth to production to processing to getting their free trade, fair trade certifications, and shipping, marketing and shipping, everything. I was like, if they can do that here, right?
Yes.
We can do co-ops where there are electric lines. Like, we can get it done in Chicago if they can do it here.
Definitely.
And so from there, I was just really inspired, and that was an undergrad. And so when I got to law school, I delved deeper into the prospect of lawyering for a cooperative or in a cooperative, and was able to represent a cooperative in clinic because I was in the community and economic development, legal development clinic. And so,
oh, nice. I was in that clinic for like 2 semesters in my school too.
It's the best one.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
And so it was the culmination of all of that. And I was ready to come home and make it happen.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what exactly kind of initiatives does the co-op provide? I know that it's kind of like a laboratory for other worker co-ops and providing resources. Could you speak on that a bit more as well?
Sure. So it's going to be a worker-owned co-op. LCDC Co-op is the incubator, but LCDC is facilitating that operation. And then the North Lawndale Co-op will be the community-based co-op. It's going to focus on 4 industries to start: construction, security, printmaking and merchandising, and holistic health. And from there, it's going to be open to members to decide where we go from there, of course. But the incubator itself, LCDC Co-op, is going to, we have partnered with the Co-op Ed Center. They're going to provide this curriculum that we're going to use for a year-long process to develop the co-op and help members begin to really self-actualize in this way. And yeah, we're going to also be providing back office support services. So we'll be doing the IT, the legal, the accounting, the marketing,
Everything.
so on and so forth. Well, to the package goes, the first 3 years for sure. 3 to 5, they can elect to outsource their marketing to someone else. Maybe they want, one of those big fancy marketing companies. Okay, cool.
Right.
And then it phases out after the 5th year. We're working on right now towards putting together a capital match for the co-ops so that all funding that the members are able to raise, we can match it to provide sufficient funding for the different businesses to leverage in the traditional banking market to get loans to have, working capital and startup capital. So all kinds of stuff.
What do you think are some of the challenges that maybe you're facing or challenges that the Black co-op community is facing in general?
I think like Black businesses and Black startups and Black entrepreneurs in any sector, it's access to capital is the number one hurdle. Beyond that, things that are unique to co-ops are cohesion and collective mindset, and that has to be built and groomed. So, yeah.
I feel like when I speak to co-ops, that is the main kind of point of contention is the capital raising piece.
Oh,
How
yeah.
are you finding financing for this initiative, or are you raising capital?
We're raising capital. Of course, membership's going to have to provide some of that capital, and then the philanthropic community at large is warming up to co-ops, and so we'll provide some of that funding. But it's a struggle for sure for all of us. Yeah.
Oh, I was speaking on, I didn't realize I was still on mute. I was going to say, why do you think the work in North Lawndale is so important? Not only just for maybe the west side of Chicago, but for the Black community in general in Chicago. Do you see that kind of expanding?
I think the work in North Lawndale is so important because, functionally we've crafted a model that is development without displacement in its truest form. And, I'm from here, my boss is from here, a lot of the other nonprofit leaders are from here, but more importantly, the leaders that we are working with and the leaders that we are exposing to different tools like the organizing tool set and the cooperative tool set, they're all from here. And to the degree that we're successful, it'll be unique in this country to have a community that is able to marshal and leverage city dollars, philanthropic dollars, and individual contributions to really develop for itself in its own image. It's powerful. It's also rare and it's hard to do.
No, it's very impressive. How are you selecting what co-ops that you're gonna work with? What kind of application process or?
So, I mean, we're creating the co-op, so that's easy because there's
Okay.
only one and we're building it. And membership is the only rule is that you're from North Lawndale. So there's no true selection process there. It's self-selection. Who wants to put in the work?
Who wants to do it? Okay. So there's no sort of vetting process or anything like that.
16 and older. And that's it.
And does it matter? I guess so. There's 4 industries that you're focusing on. You said construction. What were the other? Printmaking.
Security and holistic health.
Okay. And how do you see the Black co-op movement?
I see it as a powerful force. I wish us all much success. I love the amount of camaraderie and um, just collective dedication that we all have. It's a small community, so many of us know each other, and we are quick to support and offer assistance, and yeah. So,
So, sorry.
no, go
So
ahead.
throughout this process, you've been able to connect with other Black co-ops and get advice and guidance.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's made all
Okay.
the difference.
Okay. That's good to hear that, we're supporting each other in this and we're a resource that we can go to. Have you had to reach out to other co-ops that aren't Black? So,
Mhm.
more like established white co-ops or
I mean, the U.S. Federation of Cooperatives, we've definitely reached out, and you have to work to become um, connected and networked into those systems as well. It's important and
right.
unavoidable. So yes, absolutely.
Definitely. That makes sense. What seems like you guys are receiving a lot of support from the Black co-op community, and it doesn't seem. Do you think that there could be more? Like, do you think that
I mean, I think
there's
we're all
areas where,
doing, no, I think we're all doing our level best to offer what we can to one another, but we're all, overworked. These are big problems that we're trying to fight and push against head on. So, yeah.
do you have advice for people that are interested in creating their own co-op and maybe some sort of feedback?
So, advice, just start. Just start. You'll figure it out as you go. Don't let the fear and the naysayers prevent you from moving forward. Um, and just be as intentional and thoughtful and open-hearted as possible, because at the end of the day, while you're starting businesses, these are businesses, you're
Right.
doing it in a way that's the complete antithesis to the capitalist system we live in, right? And that's going to be hard. We're we are groomed from day one to accept hierarchy, to expect um, an individual leader, to um, look for someone to follow. So it's hard to retool and restructure our thinking for something more egalitarian.
Do you think that there are a lot of common misconceptions with having your own cooperative? Like what, if any?
Yeah, I mean, I think people think it automatically means everything's going to be kumbaya,
Mm.
and or that it means there won't be profit or things like that. But they also think that about nonprofits. But the NFL is a nonprofit, so there you go.
Right. And they're making plenty of money, which we know.
Plenty of money.
That makes sense. Okay. I feel like a lot of people think, going into a co-op, like you said, maybe they can't make money or um, understanding kind of the structure of, oh wow, I don't have this manager or person, so how to like what does that mean for like what I'm doing? Does that make sense? Who am I supposed to go to?
Yes.
But what do you think? So is it more, you know, everybody's kind of leaning on each other and it's a more, it seems like empowering structure, being able to have a co-op where you don't have that structure of like, okay, this person is like the boss of me and I have to report to them. Um,
But
how
some
do you
people,
think that empowers? Mhm.
I mean, I think it definitely gives some people confidence in themselves, in their work product and their abilities when they know they're part of a team. Some people love to be a part of a team. Some people don't want the accountability. So it's easier to just be told what to do and then go do it.
Mhm.
And then, not everybody's the kind of person who wants to be in decision making. And that's fair. That's why there are different rules and different levels, even within the co-op. So I think there's,
Right.
it's a mixed basket, and there's space for everyone to work according to their own comfort, even while you're a part of something that's pushing the boundaries on the status quo in a system.
Is there anything that you're most looking forward to with this?
I'm most looking forward to when the co-op is kind of self-sustaining, right? When it's up and running and it's like people know their jobs and people know their roles and people are slotted into those places, and that day we'll feel like,
You made it.
yeah.
Are there any other co-ops that you can think of that you really uh, maybe have like gone to for? I know you mentioned there's this Black co-op community. You've been able to lean on each other. Is there any co-op like specifically that has really been very integral in helping you, or
The Koala Nut Collaborative.
Koala Night Co-op? Okay. And what is their co-op?
It's like a teaching, technical assistance, learning, group study space. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you see kind of your co-op journey continuing? Like, is there anything else that you would like to do? Like, how do you see your
I have
path
to get through this
forward?
before I get
Yeah.
to the next step. I can't even.
Okay.
I'm not there yet.
Okay, that makes sense. One step at a time.
Yes.
Exactly.
You don't
That's
eat
how
an elephant
yeah,
by eating the whole elephant. It's one bite at a time.
that makes sense. That's kind of like a good mantra for law school too.
Yes.
Yeah,
One class, one set of reading at a time.
right.
One opinion.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Do you have any other like last minute thoughts or comments that you'd like to share with our co-op community?
I'm just really excited to see more young people interested. It was something that I found out about in college and in law school. I mean, really dove deeply into in college and law school. And so I'm glad to see that other people are as well. And, I want to affirm that, yeah, this can be the way to really do good work in our communities and change our understanding. I think Black and Brown folks generally have a very well-developed sense of collective identity. And if we can take that cultural collective identity and transform it into a collective economic identity,
Game changer.
might be onto something.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. And I also wanted to make sure I tell everybody to please sign up for our newsletter on our website at elcesqllc.com, and think about contributing to our Black Capital Matters Gift Legal Fund, where we'll be helping other co-ops and Black-owned businesses navigate through the capital raising industry and that whole space. And follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So thank you so much. It was great speaking with you today, Whitney.
Great speaking with you, Simone. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.